Friends and solutionaries, thank you for joining us tonight. I am Dr. Tatiana, but you already knew that. And those of you that are listening tonight and were patient enough to wait the now 21 minutes of delay due to technical challenges and know why we have had an absence for the last several weeks, thank you. Thank you for being here. This is a special edition. This is a very vulnerable, very raw broadcast in that nothing short of your comfort, your support, this entire community coming up and creating an opportunity to be strengthened and fortified, an act of sheer will, a true act of sheer will, and some of the most inspirational and motivating friends and colleagues, one of which who is a dear friend, a colleague, and a soul brother, and is my guest tonight, Scott Werner. Before I bring him on, for many of you, you know that there has been a major personal impact in my life. And that is an epic understatement. And quite honestly, I wasn't sure that I was ever going to be sitting in this studio again, either behind a camera or behind a Facebook or YouTube Live, because I have experienced what many call the dark night of the soul, what feels like an attack of dark forces, what feels like a very subversive and very highly intentional undermining of what my goals have been to bring greater truth and hope to this community. And I'm not alone in having experienced this kind of undermining. I'm surrounded by good people, wonderful, wonderful people that I have personally interviewed now for over 1.5 years, many of which have been personally and professionally attacked for being bringers of the good news, to be wayshowers and whistleblowers, some of which just had recent death threats from the dimensions of disclosure camp in some of what they are bringing to light. And in introducing my dear friend, Scott Werner, who has his own story and is here to encourage me so that I can speak instead of hide, because it has been my inclination to hide. He is here to share his story. And for those of you that are experiencing some of this darkness, some of this struggle, some of the overwhelm of what's going on in our world, in our humanity, in our evolution, and the energies that would want to maintain control, many of you are going to need some hope. I need some hope. I had a daughter take her life earlier this month. And I have to preface by having you understand that she knew very, very lucidly, as an intuitive, my daughter, a very, very powerful intuitive, that this is a realm where everything goes. And there is light, and there is darkness, and there is beauty, and there is pain. And she knew that she was struggling with what she referred to as her demons. And she knew they were real. And she knew that they had a strong hold on her. And I have been supporting her and trying to strengthen her for years. So being here and sharing any of this with you, because this is not a public thing, social media is raw and unkind. Things show up and immediately your whole personal world is compassionately or not so much, violated by everyone who knows. And it has been horrendous and it has been horrific. And I am only here because I believe that even now she would want me to continue to speak of the hope and the opportunity and the changes that this world is bringing on. And with that, I would like to introduce my dear friend and soul brother and second time guest, Scott Werner, who gives me strength, who encouraged me and admonished me to continue when I didn't want to, and who has been through that dark night of the soul and come out with a level of cheer and optimism like no one knows and is as contagious as every single one of us needs. So welcome, Scott. Thank you for joining us and thank you for sticking through our technical difficulties.
Wow. I tell you, this has been one of those days where you just praise the Lord. It's 5 p.m., time to be on with Tatiana. And, I've been looking forward to this.
I needed
Can
you
you hear me?
tonight. Yes, yes, I can hear you. I think they can all hear you. I really
Oh,
needed your
good.
hope tonight, and I think that there's a lot of people besides me that are needing your hopefulness tonight. How many people can say that they've been through your evolution of purpose and discipline and embracing a holistic approach and come under the kind of attack that you personally have, and here you are, still in demand, alive and well, and so promoting the positivity of a future that is just not too far away. Scott, please talk to our people. Tell them what you've been through. Tell them why you are so hopeful, because we need to hear it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The reason I can laugh and I'm happy is because I'm following the ascended masters. I'm literally blessed every day in every aspect of my life. And, you know, ever since I started just following the Ascended Masters, every day I get love and light from them. I receive joy, peace, bliss, happiness. Every morning when I wake up, my first thoughts are, okay, what am I going to do today to assist with the ascension, to assist with getting people ready and able to know of the love, hope, and happiness that we're all going to enjoy should we stick with the ascension. Uh, there is so much to offer. Uh, Friday night, my wife was in the shower, and all of a sudden, she has this vision. And she would get mad at me because here I am, I'm the one that sees the ascended masters all the time. She says, why am I not seeing them? And so Saint Germain came to me just before I went to Mount Shasta, and he said to me, Scott, you need to start mentoring people and getting them ready for the ascension. And I was like, oh, okay, if that's what you want me to do. I've been mentoring people with their health for years, but I've never mentored them to get to know the ascended masters. And so this was something new that got sprung upon me. And when I went to give my talk in Mount Shasta, I literally was channeling with the ascended masters and telling the people there at the conference what the ascended masters wanted me to teach. And at the end of my lecture, people just lined up at my desk, and I didn't even halfway know what I even said because I was channeling.
Mhm.
But what was amazing was all the people that we signed up, and we have been mentoring them to get ready for the ascension. The, Out of the 15 people, 7 of them already have had experiences where the ascended masters have appeared to them and spoken to them. appeared to them, let them feel them. I mean, it's been amazing. And then Vicky has this experience where she sees them. And so she can no longer say to me, "How come you're the one always seeing them?" Because she's seen them now. Saint Germain appeared to her. And so, they're real, they're alive, they're assisting us. All we got to do is get to know them.
And like I said, and our audience is probably in full confirmation, your levity is contagious, Scott. And when I had the pleasure of meeting you finally in person after our interview in Mount Shasta, you did a channeling of sorts. You gave me what was probably the most powerful blessing I have ever had in my life. And I've had many blessings coming from the faith that I was raised in, and it was profound. I mean, it was profound. It was very, very clear that there were messages that I needed to hear and things that were meant to fortify me, to get me excited to do what I've been doing, because I play my own small role, my own part, by being part of the show, teaching the classes I do, doing the speaking opportunities that I do. But and you are convicted that this is meant to spread, and that this is meant to be propagated amongst those that are would-be way showers and those that are feeling called and inspired. And so as much as we can see the light, which I do want to talk about, I'm excited to talk about that, because that's really where I'm gravitating towards for myself. There are many of us that are experiencing what we feel is a very direct attack, if you will, of something that challenges our fortitude, something that expects us to maybe break us down to our lowest common denominator. And I know you've already been there and experienced that first. And I want to talk to those that are still there, and then move towards that light, because there are those that are right now being told they have to cancel gatherings and conferences because they've received death threats. There are those that have dealt with major health concerns that feel like they're very targeted. And I know these are familiar things to you. I know that my daughter felt that the pressure was building and it was not containable anymore. And she told me that she wasn't winning the battle against these beings. And I don't have any doubt that there is a full gradient of light and dark beyond this human acuity that is so limited. It is so grossly limited for most of us. As you said, Vicky complains she wanted to get past that veil for herself. So I want to talk about these ascended masters. I want to go there, but I know that the part of what propelled me to even get behind this camera, only a month shy of this horrible and truly, there's no words. There's no words for losing your child. There's no words for losing a child to suicide. There's no words. How do we help those that are going through their own darkness, Scott? How do we help them to see their way through that abyss and move to where you are now?
Well, there's several things we can do. Number one, know that God is in charge. Know that God's love is going to win. The people who do remote viewing have now no longer seen the cabal winning. And the cabal is mighty pissed off about this. And who wouldn't be, if you've worked your whole life doing evil and all of a sudden you're not going to win any longer, you get despicably mean and chaotic. And that's what's happening right now, is all of the dark forces are doing everything they can to discourage the people who are moving forward toward doing good and being good and making our world a better place. And to me, when I remote viewed the future and saw the good outcome that we are going to have, it just inspired me to keep going despite the death threats against me, despite the darkness fighting against me. 2 weeks ago, excuse me, 3 weeks ago, I went and I spoke at a conference at Systemic Formulas, and the main man was possessed by demons. And I didn't have the strength or the energy to depossess him and take care of these demons because I was being attacked from the right, from the left, from in front, from behind, from below. And it was just too much. And taking on one more depossession was more than my soul could handle at that time. And I was very disappointed. And I told the daughter of the man in the company, I said, I'm the guy who does this, but I can't do it right now, but I will as soon as I am able. And so I prayed and prayed and prayed for strength, for the ability to just do it, something I've done many, many times. And yet I didn't have the strength or the energy to do it. In fact, my guides were telling me, don't do anything right now. You're too vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I waited, and then Vicky had another dream that there was beings having a meeting down in the Middle Earth, and they wanted me to attend that meeting. Now, this may sound way out there, and believe me, Vicky was questioning it more than anybody because she's this is new to her. And so we sat down, and she does what you call past life regression therapy, but we've also done uh, therapy where we go into the future and see what's going on. And we also go and do visitations in the present. And so she took me through a mild hypnotic state, and I ended up down in the inner earth, and there was 12 beings. All of them were previous ascended masters, and they had dimmed their light enough so that it was kind of like 12 glowing beings. And Jack Stuckey calls these beings, when they're not appearing in our dimension, he calls them, oh, I'll think of the word here in just a sec, but that they were appearing to me in their lighted state, but they had dimmed their light enough that I could withstand being in their presence
Mm-hmm.
without getting consumed. And anyway, they told me, Scott, we're really happy with you working on getting the humans ready for the ascension. And I said, well, you're welcome. That's my job. And so they said, we want to help you, and we want to help humanity up on the surface. And so we want you to know that we're here, and we want you to know, let all the people know on the surface that we're here to help all of you. And we have been here for 56,000 years, since we ascended 56,000 years ago. And we have been wanting to come to the surface, and we know this is the time when the earth is going to go through the ascension. And so we are going to be able to come to the surface. But until then, we've still got to work down here in the hidden areas of the earth. But we're here to assist you. So tell the people on the surface that we are here. Have them ask us to come help them in any kind of need, whether it's being attacked by darkness or being unhappy, being sad. And we will send our energies to assist to alleviate that sadness, alleviate that difficulty, alleviate alleviate the hardness that you're going through right now, because the cabal's putting us all through this chaotic energy, and it's just been horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can keep us in fear and chaos, they think they'll still win, but no, they're not going to win. And so just know in your hearts, we have won, and all of those humans who are going through processes where they get so despondent they feel there's no hope and they take their lives, they're in a special area of God's love right now, and are not going to be punished for this because it's very heavy here right now on earth. You know, it's so heavy that God has made special consideration with his love for all of our children, for us, for our parents, for everybody who's going through this, because this is one of the toughest times that have ever occurred on the planet Earth. And yet it's one of the most wonderful times on the planet because we are a part of this event that's coming up.
Mhm.
And it is
Mhm.
so cool to be able to see the changes in the earth, the changes in the people. And we are bringing this about with each other. And this is the biggest group of humans to ever get ready for the ascension. And yet there is so much energy trying to stop this ascension. And so our job is to keep the hope, know that God is in charge, know that we are given special consideration for what we're going through, because this is the toughest time ever on this planet,
Mhm.
ever. And so just know you're a part of this and we are survivors. Most of us came back from Atlantis after we destroyed Atlantis, and we're here in this time now to karmically make things right.
Mhm.
And I know I'm one of them. I admit I'm one of the guys that blew up Maldek. I blew up Atlantis, and so one of the reasons I'm here now is to make this right. And
Yeah.
so if I can help anyone, I'm here to do that. And I've been killed 3 times in the last 4 years and saved and actually come back stronger every time. I'm at the point where, if they try and kill me again, let them do it.
You're really
Because I
likened to
know
that
if
character from Game of Thrones for the Game of Thronesers, where the Lord of Light keeps bringing back this particular actor, and I don't know why that's coming to me right now. Other than that, there are those that have passed on beyond the veil, Scott, and that you've done it. You shared that story in Mount Shasta, and it was very compelling. And you and I have talked a bit about it. That miracles are always possible, and that even when you are out of body and you're in that multidimensional spatial space, there can be choices that are made, very lucid choices. And you shared, at your speaking event in Mount Shasta, that you looked down at your body and you saw what you were dealing with. You talked about multiple organ failure and asked your guidance. I believe you said Saint Germain and some others were there and said, "Can I go back into my body?" Not happy with what would result in your absence. And they said something along the lines of, "I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to be a lot of work to get your body back to where it needs to be, but that you knew how to heal your body and they would help you heal your body." When you say that you've been taken out or you've been targeted or you've been murdered and you have come back, I know that seems almost impossible to grasp for some members of our audience. And I'm sure that even things as common sense and as clear as people are receiving death threats. Why would they receive death threats? People have been disbarred, they've lost their licenses, they've been persecuted. Why would these things be happening? You've had this experience more than once. You've experienced personal, professional, and visceral impacts, threats, attacks on your being. And I think what you're saying to all of our audience, I know you've said it to me, you're a big reason why I am behind this camera tonight is persevere. We have to persevere. And that's so
yes,
hard for some of us. Did it come that easy for you to bounce back when these first attacks happened? Tell us what you went through a little bit so we can empathize or sympathize.
I tell you, I've had enough pain in my body that, I just wanted to literally end it, but I knew I couldn't because I needed to make right everything that I've done in my past lives. And believe me, I've seen all of my past lives. And there were times when I was going around cutting people's heads off. I was doing all kinds of despicable things. And this lifetime, I've been given the opportunity to make all of that past right. And that's what I'm doing. I'm determined that I am going to make everything right that I have wronged. And what's interesting is I was given a message about 6 months ago that I had burned off all of my karmic debt and that now I was creating the energy to assist to burn others' karmic debt.
Mm.
And you know what? It's my privilege to be able to do that for others now. And so the rest of my life, I'm going to burn other people's karmic debt. I'm going to take care of others and bless others and honor them. Because let me tell you, this earth is one of the worst in the universe. And we have had more opportunity to do very, very bad things. And now it's time to make right and get everybody prepared to ascend and have love, joy, peace, and plenty. Uh, get it right this time
Mhm.
because we've had spent thousands and thousands of lives getting it wrong, coming back and having to redo again. When the lady up at Mount Shasta was talking about the multi dimensions and how the Arconians are in the fourth dimension, well, when she was saying that, I was like, yeah, and they're convincing us to come back down here again and mess up because they want to feed on all our fear and our hate and our problems
Mhm.
and what we want to do now is create good energy, energy that will uplift everyone, bring us to the point where we're happy and loved and being loved and full of joy, bliss, peace, happiness, compassion, all of the good things. And we need to create that kind of world now to get us ready for the ascension.
Scott, I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm wondering, I want your opinion on this. When I was studying at a conference in London a year ago, September, and I got to know one of the founders of that conference, and it brought in some big names like Dr. Bruce Lipton and oh, Greg Braden and Lynn McTaggart and Joe Dispenza, many, many really great names. And I met Curtis Childs there, who is one of the lead spokesmen for the Swedenborg Foundation. And after hearing all of this positive talk, he came in at the end as one of the last speakers and said, "Now, I don't mean to be a bummer," basically. And he kept apologizing while delivering his PowerPoint that while you know that epigenetics exists, which means you can change your genes and turn on and off chromosomes and genes, which is yay, you can direct co-create a healthier body. And we had Bruce Lipton talking about neuroplasticity and what you think and what you feel becomes habituated and you can change that and reroute those synaptic nerves. And Lynn McTaggart, power of eight, you get people together and you can co-create and heal people and transmute adversity in their lives. He's here at the end going, "I got some news for you guys. It isn't all roses and flowers in that 95% of the unseen universe that is measurable but not visually available to most human beings. Yes, the more we work on it, the better that we are able to see through that veil. And you and I know we do that work. There is a lot of adversity in that 95%. And Swedenborg was brilliant and academic on all counts and did a thorough amount of relaying what he could see through the veil, trying to help the mental health professionals that were here in this country and throughout Europe to actually really be impactful on the patients that were suffering, being told everything was in their head, that it was all delusional for schizophrenics and delusional for borderline personalities and multiple personalities. And all they needed was the right medication and shock therapy and just to be quiet, that it wasn't real. And that was the greatest disservice we could do them, that those that were more lucid to see could see the beauty and the wonder, like you and I are talking about, but also the horrors and the depravity and dark energies that feed on dark energy, just like light breeds and is able to further project light. And so I remember talking to one of the founders afterward, and he warned me because I just started this show. And he said, Tatiana, I want you to be very aware. The larger that you make an impact, please be cautioned, the greater chance that you're going to come under some form of attack. And he proceeded to tell me what he and the other founder had done because they were impacting tens of thousands of lives every single year because of these conferences and because of the experts they were bringing together and because of the hopefulness that it was creating for others. But just as Curtis had stated, you know, there are things that are being able to magnify because of the light work that we're doing and are able to reach us and are able to have greater dialogue in bringing up the vibrational frequency of this planet. But there are those that have been very comfortable feeding on, breeding on, and growing stronger on our misery, on our sadness and our woe. And this, I hope this doesn't sound like a shock to our audience. If you watch any of pop culture, if you guys read mythology, Hades fed on the pain and the agony and the suffering of those that were in hell as much as Zeus fed on the prayers and on the praise. This is a theme we've been hearing about our whole lives, and I think we just don't realize how palpable and genuine it happens to be. And so, you know, as you had felt targeted at one point, what helped you rise above feeling threatened by that anymore? What was the linchpin and the transition for you with that? Because I need it, and I think that others need that as well.
I think that you come to a point where you realize, okay, every thought I have, every emotion that I'm feeling, every action that I do has an opposite and an equal reaction. And we are in duality. And duality has the light and the dark, the hot and the cold, you know, the opposites to everything. And we created this universe. We created this dichotomy. And because of that, we have to accept wholly what we create and what we can uncreate. And the most fantastic gift I ever had was doing ayahuasca down in the Amazon jungle in Peru. Because down there, I learned whatever crap I created, I can also uncreate. And that's what I desire now, is to uncreate all the misery I've caused, uncreate all of the murders I've caused, uncreate all of the crap that I've done to other people to make them feel bad. My job now is to create a world of happiness, of hope, of peace, of liberty, getting people freed up. You know, I was a slave owner and I was a slave in past lives. I know what it's like to be both. And now it's time to make right what I have done wrong. And the neat thing about this is when you think about it, what we are doing currently, there's a bigger picture. Everything that we think, everything we feel, everything we do has an impact on others. We are all connected to each other. So whenever we have a dark thought, that affects somebody. Whenever we do something wrong, it affects somebody. Whenever we even telepathically communicate anything bad, we hurt somebody. So now it's time to make right everything, everything, everything.
Mhm.
Make it right and make it right now. You know, everybody, your mess is your message. Well, I must have a big mess because I've got a big message. And so just know that right now is time for all of us to be as good as we can be as happy as we can be, and spread that throughout our universe.
You have some really strong messages, Scott, about resilience. And I've shared them with my classes that I teach on energy medical intuition. And my classes love listening to your decrees for protection. Why don't you talk to our audience a little bit about that tonight? Because I think that too often we think, could a fair and just deity, a divine creator, an ultimate source, could it really have it leverage this much against us? It seems so unfair. And I think that we all miss the fact that deviance has a tendency to try to cut corners, but that the glory of that light that is the hosts of heaven and the benevolent beings that we would call, our space brothers, extraterrestrials, they understand that there are decrees and laws of the universe that require that we request. And I know
Yeah.
that I'm real big on making a point that requesting is important for me. I've taught my children to request it. They've worked with those tools. My students have worked with those tools. But let's talk a little bit about the decrees of protection and how you feel that might build resilience during some of the challenges we're going through right now. Do you want to speak to that, Scott?
Oh, absolutely.
Please do.
The decrees to put my world in divine order was when he was teaching me all about the 24 strand DNA manifestation. He also had me put in decrees for safety and protection. Now, for some reason, the lady in Colorado who had actually got these out of the green books and the white books, initially written by Guy Ballard, and she copyrighted them. So we had to put hers in my book because my author thought mine were too close to hers, and actually hers were too close to Saint Germain's. And
Yeah.
Saint Germain didn't want anybody to copyright his stuff. But anyway, so I was told by Saint Germain to dig up my old decrees that he gave me because they're a little bit different from what the lady in Colorado had put in hers and copyrighted them. And I'm actually distributing these to people now. And it's decrees for putting my world in divine order, is what Saint Germain called it.
Mhm.
Now, uh, the other lady called it the decrees for safety and protection. Now, I'm going to just read his first part that says, by design of nature, and this was the initial stuff he gave me when I wrote the book, but my printer wouldn't put it in, my publisher, because he thought it was too close to this lady's, and he found her stuff on the internet, and so he said, Scott, you've got to get her permission because she's copyrighted it. And I'm like, Saint Germain did not copyright this. So anyway, he says, by design of nature, our bodies are highly adaptable, forcers of high thinking and frequencies can accelerate this with our intent. And voicing the following will clear our karma, personality defects, and negative thought forms and energy. So, right in the beginning, clean up our bodies and our minds and get rid of personality problems. So, the next thing he says is, I ask the divine cosmic powers of the sacred fires from the great central sun to Fill me with the unconditional love and consume all limitations within my world and every mistake I have ever done, and clear my soul and bodies, as we have many, with the cosmic violet flame. I also call upon the cosmic violet flame to consume all my discordant creations and the discordant creations of others around me. Blaze the cosmic violet flame into every aspect of nature that I have ever harmed in any way, space, time, level, dimension, kingdom, or realm, or dimension in the past, present, or future, in between and in parallel lives. I asked for the healing of all nature. Because right now, we're polluting up the earth and causing a lot of trouble. So we clean that up first. Mighty I am presence. Charge my mind and bodies with your mighty energy, strength, courage, divine victory, and opulence. Charge every aspect of my being and world with your perfection. Bring this body into your perfect symmetry. Charge me with the power of the cosmic divine love, so I may safely and firmly move forward into the use of the greater powers without interruption. Fill me with your invincible solution to every problem in my life. I ask for sacred fire control of myself and everything in my life. I command the divine plan fulfilled in my world. Fill me with the ascended master consciousness and lead me to my ascension now. Mighty I am presence, be with me this day and walk the earth with me and see that I fulfill my divine plan. Hold me in your heart and make me all that you are. I am the heart and the mind of the mighty I am. I call forth the sword of blue flame that keeps me cut free forever from all I have ever sent out in this and all embodiments. I call forth the triple archangel shield to totally surround me and every aspect of my life. I ask for the archangel's blessing in every aspect of my life. I call forth the triple Arcturian shield to completely surround me, my home, my family, and benevolent humans, life forms, places, buildings, benevolent technology and businesses, and every aspect of our lives in alignment with the divine plan. Beloved mighty I am presence in K17, the God warriors, keep me, my loved ones, and all my activities safe and protected. Heal my body and mind with divine love, plasma, quantum field protection, and light. Reflect back and attack with 20 times the energy to its source, removing them and reabsorbing them back into the great central sun. Now, I didn't realize this, but this part is very real. And they are going to reabsorb all the cabal, all the evil people are not going to travel on to higher dimensions. They will be reabsorbed into the great central sun.
Mm-hmm.
I call forth the most benevolent outcome for all constructive life forms and call forth the violet flame to completely saturate the earth. Beloved mighty I am presence and other benevolent beings of light, completely surround and protect me, my loved ones, my homes, my businesses, cars, and other forms of transportation, and everything in my life with a wall of blue flame and the cosmic blue lightning, both within my tube of light and outside of it, so that I cannot be seen, heard, felt, or smelt by anything in the dark, in any of its forms, in any way, space, time, level, kingdom, realm, or dimension, in the past, present, future, in between or in parallel lives as a human being or in other incarnations. I call forth this protection so I can thrive in divine light and love. Blaze a ring past not of blue flame around me for better, greater protection. I call forth the mighty Elohim, especially Hercules and Amazonia. Fill my heart and brain with love, light, and truth, and all humans and animals with love, light, and truth, and with the sevenfold flame of cosmic illumination. Seal us in the star of gold and divine victory. Clothe us in a mantle of the sacred flames and the crown of the seven Elohim. Fan the threefold flame of divine love, wisdom, and power within my heart so that I can stand within it. I call forth the angels of the sacred flames to walk with me this day and bring as much light and love as possible into my life and all of nature. Bless and heal all the powers of nature and the beings of the elements. I call forth all the blessings that my I am presence wishes to give me, and I ask for the blessings of the cosmic beings of divine light and love. For all of this, I send forth the deepest gratitude. So be it, and so it is. And those are the original words that Saint Germain gave me. And I'm now, been told by Saint Germain to get them out. And when I make my next copies of my book, I know Saint Germain's telling me I need to put the original in there. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's it.
And it's so powerful, and you say it with so much conviction, and I know that those that I've shared it with, many of them get up every morning, and while they're getting ready, Scott, the first voice that they hear is yours. Of course, as you are orating for Saint Germain and giving them those decrees to protect and shield themselves. And I'd like to say that I got up every single day and did it. I think sometimes you think I got this. I got my back. I know what I'm doing and what I'm focused on, and I've got a timeline here I need to get to. But I am not invulnerable. It doesn't matter how much I work and how dutifully and studiously I apply. We are not invulnerable. So I think that you're sharing how powerfully and with such clarity and conviction we need to call down the powers of heaven. We need to call on those God warriors. I've written in my book, what has worked for me is to call in the Kadosh, is what I call it, which is a Yiddish form of holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, but it's Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabaoth. My children have done it. They've known it. They've been able to cast things out of their room that are anything from extraterrestrial, interdimensional to demonic. And we knew that these were tools, but we have to ask. We have to call in powers that sometimes are bigger than our physicality and our limited scope of reference. So I'm very grateful you took the time to read those. Let's talk about what we need to do to be in resonance with that light so that we can feel it and actually experience its protection. I just want to say to those of you, before you answer that, Scott, to those of you that have lost someone or you've lost many someones, they're not gone. I can say this with the greatest of humility. If I could not see and sense and experience my daughter, I would be experiencing a whole different level of grief. I can't even imagine what it would be like to feel like she was just gone. She's not gone. She visits me regularly and has visited many family members, and she did it in ways that we would know it was her, which is the very gift I have given clients for years when they've come to see me with similar losses. But one thing I know is that when I'm depressed and all I can think about is how I lost her and how my life looks not having her and how I might have failed her, which sadly is something that we all go through when we lose someone this close to us. I can't resonate with her in my sadness, in my grief. She can't visit me there. I'm at a different frequency. I know that that is true. And so I'm being so transparent to everyone who's listening. If there is someone beyond the veil, whether it is your guide or it is your grandmother, that you are trying to reach out and feel, or Saint Germain and Ascended Masters, you're being able to raise your vibration up to resonate with them is extremely, extremely important. There's a measure of grace, isn't there, Scott, where they can, like you said, dim that light to come down and be closer to our proximity, so that we can appreciate their presence and not be burned up by the brightness and the light of the vibrational frequency they're at. But but we do need to avail ourselves to resonate at that high frequency. So what suggestions do you have, Scott, for those that are trying to bring, other than, of course, that beautiful affirmation, to bring themselves into calibration with those higher realms of light as we're moving closer to this end game that we're all in?
You know, we as humans have more powers than we can imagine. We have the power to create our reality. We have the power to travel through time, space, dimension. I've done it, and we all can do it. Now, the main thing, I had the privilege of knowing a guy who had a Carillion photography that did real time. In other words, it could look at you, and as you thought a thought, you could see your auric field change.
Mhm.
Now, that has power because I would think a naughty thought, and I could see me get dark. And I could think a good thought, and the most powerful one was love.
Mhm.
It would change my auric field. We have the ability to, within a matter of a millisecond, change our vibration from one area to another, one vibration to another. And so every thought we have, every emotion we have, is going to shift our frequency. And currently, all I want to do is stay in that high vibration of love, light, compassion, joy, bliss, because when you're there, you feel better and you actually do better. And so all of us have that capacity. Now, there's always things reacting around us all the time, and we react to those things. And what we have to do is choose to react in a higher vibration. In other words, when Jesus was talking to people and he said, if somebody comes up to you and they steal from you, you bless them. If they want your coat, give it to them. If they slap you on the face, turn your other cheek and let them slap you there.
Mhm.
Just let them know that you love them, that you care about them, that you desire for them to vibrate higher. And what this does, believe it or not, it actually lets them look at themselves in a different way. Maybe not right in that moment, but they'll go home and they'll think about what happened
Yeah.
when you encountered them and they were trying to be naughty and you were kind to them.
Mhm.
You sent them love. You sent them compassion. You sent them grace,
So
forgiveness.
you're not feeding the contention. You actually
Exact.
starved the contention and then you gave them back a higher frequency of emotion, a higher frequency of human connection. They can choose to receive it or not receive it, but it kind of makes you somewhat less permeable, doesn't it, Scott?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Even when I was being attacked by the cabal and I was being thrown into things and thrown into walls and thrown on the floor, I kept saying, I forgive you. I love you. And I know that those wizards felt that and they knew what they were doing was wrong.
Mhm.
But if I'd have reacted by, oh, I hate you, I think you're despicable, all we're doing is feeding the fire.
Yeah. Scott, I've been told by my production manager that we have several people in the queue, and I just want to give them one last opportunity as we're winding down on the hour. We're so sorry that it took 20 plus minutes to get on, but for those of you that have any questions or thoughts or concerns, or maybe just something that you could briefly share, 919-518-9773 before we close on the hour. Again, 919-518-9773. It is a humor and a levity and an upbeat attitude that you have, Scott, that I'm looking forward to reclaiming. I'm not there yet. I really do feel tremendous gratitude for you being here tonight, for our conversation that led to you being on the show tonight. I had two men that I deeply respect, you and another back to back, that said, Tatiana, you need to get back on point, get back on task. You need to not stop. You need to not quit. You need to grieve. You need to mourn, but you need to not stop. Any difference you make is a difference for another soul. And I needed to hear that, Scott. It
I,
makes all the difference in the world.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely. And you're there. You're coming. You're on the air.
You know, I was wondering if technology was going to beat us on this. Do we have someone in the
Oh,
queue that wanted to? Okay, so right now we don't have anybody that's ready to jump on the call, and just in bringing this into some concise order, because I've never come on the show this vulnerable, and I've certainly never come on with no agenda, no sound bites, no Q&A. We didn't know what we were going to say. We just knew that we've both felt the adversity in our lives that is enough to make you, if you will it, to give up. I know what that feels like. This isn't the first hit. This is just the worst hit for me.
yeah,
And you've
yeah.
inspired so many with, hey, this is part of the life choice that we have. And how do you get in alignment with the one that actually brings you closer to it? So let's assume everyone that's listening is interested in releasing the old paradigm, releasing the old power structure, that we're all on board with becoming students of the ascension and mentors of the ascension. What's the first step, Scott? Because I think that that would be a high place to end and a high place to wrap everyone up and deliver the very best that you have to offer.
Well, the number one thing that the great divine director has told me to do is bless people. In other words, send them blessings from God. And guess who God is? You are. So if you bless others instead of curse them, you honor them instead of discourage them. If you lift them up instead of pulling them down, you have done your God day. And so, just like Jesus said, bless them that curse you. Those who want to do bad towards you, do them good back. And let me tell you, we will shift the consciousness of the planet so fast. We literally have 15 years till the ascension. And I believe we're going to shift the consciousness of over 7 billion people so fast that our minds are just going to go, wow, we helped do this. And right now, there's only 100,000 of us ready for the ascension. That's a drop in the bucket. And we need to fill that bucket with all the children of God, because that's who we are. We're all children of God, and we need to help each other. We need to lift each other. We need to do the right thing. So, do you mind if I give a blessing to everybody?
No, I encourage you to give a blessing. You are one that I trust to be inspired to let divinity run through you. Please do.
Thank you. In the name of the mighty I am that I am, the creator of the universe, and all the angels and archangels, the seven Elohim, and all the ascended masters, both within the planet and outside of our planet Earth. We bless every human listening to us tonight and every human who is not listening to us. We send the message: you are a being of light and love. You were created out of the love of God and given the opportunity to do all that you are doing. We bless you to make better choices, make better decisions, stay in good emotional health and do good for all those around you. Even those who treat you bad, send them back love and forgiveness and gratitude. Ho'oponopono everyone around you. Tell them I love you. I am sorry for anything I've done wrong. Please forgive me. And I am grateful for you being alive and teaching me. Thank you. And we, by doing the Ho'oponopono, will change all the vibratory matter on this planet, and every human on this planet will start to evolve into a higher vibration, getting them ready for the ascension. I bless each and every one of you with happiness, bliss, hope, and happiness and love in your lives. I bless you that you will interact with other humans. And if you're too shy, that you'll interact with telepathy to tell them you love them, tell them you honor them, tell them that you are with them and that you will give them hope and assistance, even if it's just to smile upon them and tell them that you love them. We bless you with these things and seal these blessings upon you. In the name of the Almighty, I am that I am. So be it. So it is.
You got to send it out there, don't you, Scott? Got to put it out there
Absolutely.
on
Yep,
a
you
quantum
send it out
parcel.
into the universe.
It's a quantum parcel. Yes.
Hey, thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being persistent and making sure that we could be supportive in this message, Scott. It means a lot to me. You know how important this full evolutionary cycle is, and I'm grateful to be on this trajectory with you. And so I can't thank you enough for showing up tonight. And I want to say to our audience, I got to tell you, I'm in really good company with a lot of way showers and spiritual um, mentors and sages and whistleblowers. And you know what? Most of us aren't having an easy time. I want you to know whatever you perceive when you see social media, when you see people up on stage, when you see them on YouTube, big sacrifices. Big sacrifices are being made, are being given. I've seen more GoFundMe's and PayPal campaigns being launched for people that look like they would be doing very well with multiple New York Times bestsellers. And that isn't the case. We're doing this because this is our conviction. We're doing this because we actually are driven by a purpose that is almost intangible, but it is so inescapable. And it's because we really believe that the world can be a better place. And we really believe that we were inherently placed in this sphere, in this realm, in this timeline to be of service so that the masses could rise up and become what we were actually engendered and divinely architected to be. And I don't even know where these words come from. They just come right out of my being and down and through to you. So please know we are grateful that you support this program, and we support the wisdom of the ages that is becoming available today and is going to continue all the way through to the end game as we all transition together. Thank you for joining us, because without you, we can do nothing, and together we are the solution.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.